In my opinion, Usopp has been a lackluster character since Dressrosa. Oda's been playing the long con with Usopp's development, and while I see the seeds that he's planting for Usopp's character to eventually become, it is well past overdue that Usopp gets some amount of development. The last time Usopp did anything substantial was Dressrosa. That is a decade ago. This video is kind of a follow-up to my Elbaf video, but this time I want to talk about what Usopp needs to do to make this worth the wait, and why it's so problematic that it's taken so long to get any amount of substantial development from him. Starting with what Usopp needs to do to make this worth the wait, in my opinion, he needs to show his bravery, and after he shows it, he cannot go back like what happened at the beginning of the time skip, where he says he's no longer going to be a part of the Coward Trio, and then immediately in the following arc in Punk Hazard, he goes back to being a part of the Coward Trio. And I'm not saying he can't be scared. Usopp is supposed to be the human element on the crew alongside Nami. But what I'm saying is he needs to consistently be a brave character and stop backing down as often as he does. He can still be scared, but he needs to learn to overcome that and still do what needs to be done for the crew. This is even more of a problem now, considering that Usopp is a Yonko commander, and in the final war, he's more than likely going to be leading the Giants, the people that need to be led by somebody strong and brave, which then leads to the next thing that I want to talk about. He needs to take a giant leap toward his goal, because his dream of being a brave warrior of the sea, whatever the hell that means, there either needs to be a substantial leap toward that dream, or he needs to outright achieve his dream on Elbaf, which I'd say would make sense considering this is the island that has been the end game for Usopp's character since Little Garden. He could also stand to get some upgrades and power-ups. We know that Usopp has observation haki, and he really needs to learn to control that, but I will get back to that in a moment. What I'm referring to is weapons upgrades. I'm gonna be so real, I do not care for the slingshot. But I get that's his thing, so I'm not going to fight it too hard, but I think it would be cool if he got a bow instead. I think the real thing is, we are on Elbaf, Norse mythology. Why not give him Mjolnir? After he proves himself to be this brave warrior, why not give him Mjolnir? Especially since we know Loki is a character in this universe, so why not have Usopp face him, and that's what gets him Mjolnir. Now back to the haki. Give Usopp control of his observation. I get that haki is will, so he's going to need to become a brave warrior. I get that. Let him become a brave warrior, and give him his haki. He needs to control his observation. Give him armament while we're at it. Give the whole crew haki. We are well past overdue for the whole crew to have haki. But specifically Usopp, because aside from the people that we've seen use it in combat, he is the only one that we know has it and cannot use it. Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, Jinbei, and possibly Nami, depending on how her weather thing actually works, all have haki. I'm gonna throw out a pitch real quick. The entire crew is learning haki on Elbaf, which I know is not gonna happen because for some reason Oda doesn't want these characters to have haki, despite being a Yonko crew. But hypothetically, let's say that they're learning haki, and Usopp is the only one not able to do it, because he's too much of a coward. Since haki is literal willpower, if Usopp doesn't have the will for it, then that would make sense. So let's say that he eventually, by the end of the arc, is able to control his haki because he has the willpower to properly use it. That alone would be enough for me on this arc, honestly, because after Wano and Zoro and then Frankie on Elbaf, I don't expect anything. But I hope that Oda delivers to some extent on Usopp's character. Now as for why it's such a problem that has taken so long, it has been a decade since Usopp has done anything noteworthy in the story. Usopp's last notable moment happened in chapter 758. At the time of me recording this, we are on chapter 1129. That is entirely too long for no development from a main character. And somebody's probably going to think, what about Chopper? What about Chopper? Stop bringing him up in these conversations. He is a mascot and has not done anything cool since Fishman Island. Setting the Chopper slander aside, Usopp has the potential to become an amazing character, but he needs the time to actually become that character. Usopp unlocking observation haki and incapacitating Sugar from the other side of Dressrosa was one of the best character moments in One Piece. It led us into his mentality, and it showed us the fear that he was feeling, and then it showed him overcoming that fear. That's what we need for this current version of Usopp. And that's what we need going forward from Usopp after we leave Elbaf. He doesn't need Conqueror's Haki or the strongest weapon in the entire verse or anything like that. He doesn't need a devil fruit. All he needs is to become the character that Oda has set him up to become. On Elbaf, he needs to be near the center of every major event, or at least most of them, so that by the end of it, he is seen taking major steps toward his goal. Because, like I've said multiple times, the fact that he has been put on the back burner for about a decade at this point is very poor negligence on Oda's part for what could be one of the best characters in this series. I get that as One Piece fans we like to trust the process and that Goda's got us, but we also have to acknowledge he has not done anything with this character in way too long, and at this point, if Elbaf doesn't deliver on Usopp's character, he is going to amount to nothing by the end of the series. Those are just my thoughts though, and I'm more than happy to hear what you have to say, because maybe you have a different take on what Usopp should do, or what will happen if Oda doesn't deliver on anything with Usopp in this arc. Or maybe there's just another discussion to be had that you want to bring up. I'm more than happy to engage with you. Other than that, have a nice day, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.